A necessary and proper clause, kind of related to federalism, right? So federalism is that wielding of dual power, kind of related to the supremacy clause, which says, hey, even though there's dual power, the feds are on top. This is one of the ways that the federal government justifies its use of power. So the necessary and proper clause, there's a reason it's often referred to as the elastic clause, right? Elastic being bendable. This provision has allowed Congress to subsequently the government of the United States to expand far beyond what the founders envisioned. In all fairness, however, the founders never could have imagined a world that looked like today. Some argue that it lives too generously. It is necessary and proper for we, the people, to decide whether or not the Congress abuses its authority. So let's go ahead and read it. So this is a part of the Constitution. It's not an amendment. It's in Article 1, right? So right up front, check it out. The Congress, aka the feds, shall have the power to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government or the United States or in any department thereof. So Congress has the power to make laws which they decide they actually need, which is to say they decide are necessary or proper for carrying into the execution of powers. So anything that Congress decides they need to wield power, they get to do. And I like this part. This part's important. Those powers and all other powers vested by the Constitution, which is to say, vested means given, right? All the powers that are given to the feds by the Constitution have to be respected if they're under in a department or an officer, right? So that's how we have this big democracy. That's why we have a Department of Agriculture, Department of Education, Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Transportation, right? Those are all sections of the federal government, of Congress, that Congress sets up and gives money to. And the necessary and proper clause says, hey, listen, it's not just Congress that you have to listen to. It's actually the departments that Congress sets up. And those departments and those people have authority. That's the reason why in cop shows, the Federal Bureau of Investigation always comes in and says, we have jurisdiction, right? Because the feds have that supreme power, right? Because the FBI is a section of the Department of Justice, which is sort of authorized by Congress. And then there's someone appointed by the president. Okay, that's the necessary and proper clause. So if it asks about some question about, here's an example of the federal government trying to justify its use of a power. How might they do that? Boom. Article 1, necessary and proper clause.